I welcome all the learners and participants to this video lecture on the title on the topic types of smart education. In one of the videos we have extensively talked about the different aspects of smart education. Now in this video lecture I will be discussing about the different kinds of the different types of smart education. I hope you remember the meaning of smart education. In the video on smart education, I was saying that smart education is nothing but the educational process that happens with the support of smart technologies. And we have discussed various smart technologies that are used in smart education. Now in this video let us go a little forward and let us discuss about the different types of smart education. Once again I welcome all the learners and participants. Before talking about the different types of smart education, I will be taking you through some of the basic aspects of learning. One of them is the forms of learning. I hope you are aware about the different forms of learning, which are the formal, non-formal and informal education. Why I am talking about the forms of learning? Because in all these forms of learning, smart education can be employed, smart education can be used. We can make use of smart technologies for providing formal, non-formal and informal education, even though informal is not that way very structured kind of education. What is formal education? The very structured kind of teaching learning process which usually happens in colleges and universities in a traditional educational setting or the classroom settings, while non-formal is again the structured, but it doesn't require a formal kind of or structured way of a learning traditional environment, just like the classrooms and universities or colleges. And informal is nothing but the education, the learning which happens through experiences or observation. So mostly in formal, non-formal education we can make use of the smart technologies. Even in informal learning also we can make use of the smart education. Now the other idea which I would like to discuss is about the different types of program delivery. If you look at the Indian scenario right now, we have four major modes of delivering academic programs. One is the regular, which we also call the face-to-face education, conventional or traditional education, where teachers and students engage in the teaching learning process in a traditional classroom situation. While the second is open and distance learning, where students and teachers are separated. The students learn on their own. The next is, which is the online learning. We were not too much into the online learning of academic delivery of programs, but with the emergence of newer technologies, smart technologies, many programs are now offered online, a complete academic program. The other is the blended learning, where, as the name suggests, both the traditional or regular education is blended with the online learning, or technologies are also used to impart education. So some part of the academic program is learned through traditional ways, while some part of the academic program is learned with the support of technology, that is the blended learning. So friends, again as we were discussing like the different forms of learning, here also we can make use of smart education in all the modes which you are seeing on the screen. Like in regular programs we can use technologies, in open and distance learning also we can use smart education. Online learning, of course, this is we have a big scope for making use of smart education in online learning. Again in blended learning also we can make use of smart education. The next idea which I am going to introduce is the learning style. See, students make use of various styles of learning. One is the visual learning, the other is auditory, the next one is reading, the fourth one is kinesthetic. What are those learning styles? See, say for example, if a student is a visual learner, he learns many of the things by looking at the visuals like video programs, graphics, images and etc. While auditory learners, they learn better by listening to audio programs, any audio track. Reading learners, like they learn mostly by reading the materials. It can be a textbook, any reference material, it can be any text material. While kinesthetic learners, they engage in the teaching learning activities and they learn. So, activity oriented learning is the preference mode of kinesthetic learners. Again, why I am showing this slide? Because there are different kinds of learners, and for suiting the needs of different kinds of learners, we can make use of smart education, smart technologies. The next idea is learning theories, which we will be discussing in very brief, like behaviorism, constructivism, cognitivism and connectionism. Behaviorism is a learning theory which is like a teacher keeps on discussing the ideas, the students learn it from the teachers. So, it is just like a teacher is a passive disseminator of knowledge while students are receivers of the knowledge. So, if a learning situation makes use of such kind of a learning approach, that is behaviorism. What is constructivism? In constructivism, as the name suggests, students construct ideas on their own. While cognitivism is something which is connected to the learning and brain-based learning. So, the teacher can give some ideas, thought-provoking questions on which the students will work on their own. They will make use of their cognitive capabilities and learn on their own, that is cognitivism. While connectionism is like, it's very common nowadays, especially in online learning, where students make groups, they are socially connected animals, so they have the habit of making groups and they learn from the groups. They learn by collaboration, they learn through cooperation. So, if such a learning approach is employed, that is called connectionism. So, friends, again why I am showing this slide, because in each of these learning approaches or learning theories, again smart technologies can be used. In behaviorism, in constructivism model of teaching learning, in cognitivism and in connectionism. So, we have covered couple of things like the different learning styles, learning theories, etc. So, in all those we can make use of smart technologies or ICTs or technologies. Then if any smart technology is used, then that teaching learning approach is called smart education. Now, let us quickly run through what we mean by smart education. We have already discussed a lot about smart education. In simple terms, education that makes use of smart technologies is called smart education. And what are those smart technologies? Like blockchain technology, Internet of Things, cloud computing, fog computing, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, metaverse. These are some of the smart technologies which are employed in smart education. Again, some of the tools or technologies we can again set or medium like podcast, webinar, blog, wiki, simulation, gamification, discussion forum, learning management system, OERs, QR codes, Second Life, social network, flipped classroom. These are some of the medium or tools which we can use in smart education. And friends, you should remember, this list is not a complete list. You can keep on adding the tools to it. So, any technology which are basically should be smart enough. By that I mean it should improve the efficiency and quality of teaching learning process. So, if you use any such technologies for imparting teaching, or if any technology, such technologies can be used in the teaching learning process, that is what we call the smart education. Now let us discuss about the different types of smart education. Till now we have discussed about some of the basics ideas which are there, which are associated with smart education. I hope you understood all those concepts which we have discussed. Let us now come to these types of smart education. If you look at the screen, you can see there are two types. Basically, one is the digital or online learning. The next one is blended. We have already discussed about some of these ideas in the beginning, like when we were discussing about the modes of delivery of academic programs. Now let us go a little more deep into these types. The first one is digital learning. Let us understand what is digital learning. In simple terms, we can say digital learning means learning using any electronic media. See, we used to hear various terminologies associated with digital learning like e-learning, ICT based learning, computer based learning. All those are like synonyms, and we use these terms interchangeably. So what is digital learning? Digital learning is nothing but when we make use of any digital devices or electronic media for the teaching learning purposes. That learning is called digital learning, or we can also call it as online learning. Basically, the learning which happens in the online space or with the support of any online technologies. So necessarily some online medium should be there to carry out the teaching learning process. So this is one of the categories like types of smart education, the digital or online learning, wherein which this is a teaching learning approach or teaching learning process which uses electronic media or smart technologies or digital devices. Now if you look at the digital learning, it includes many things, like as I said, it basically this is nothing but the use of technology or ICT devices or digital devices, and it can be carried out in different ways. One is the virtual classroom, where a complete classroom, traditional classroom atmosphere is recreated in a virtual space. Say for example, if I am giving a classroom, or if I have a course or program which I offer through a learning management system, then the entire teaching learning process is happening through the learning management system, or it is a virtual space. So if the teaching learning process happens in a virtual space, that is called a virtual classroom. So it's absolutely possible because of the various technologies available today. A complete traditional classroom can be replicated in a virtual space. So if that is a case, then that is called virtual classroom. The next is MOOCs, which is nothing but massive open online courses. Again, a complete academic program is offered through the virtual space. What is the difference? In MOOCs, there is no limit on the number of learners who can take admission. Again, there is no limit, or there is no prescribed qualification. For rest of the programs, we have prescribed qualification, like say for example, if I have to take admission in masters in physics, I have to have mostly BSc in physics, bachelor in physics. But in MOOCs, if we have a course on, if we have a MOOCs on MSc physics, absolutely it is not necessary to have bachelor in physics. And there are various qualities and features of MOOCs which we will discuss in some other video programs, video lectures. Then the next is SPOCs. They are nothing but they are small private online courses. Say for example, if a company wants to give a training to their employees, they can have a small private online course specifically for their employees. The next is mobile learning, which as the name indicates, the teaching learning process is carried out with the help of mobile devices like smartphones or tablets. The next is computer assisted learning. Basically, we make use of the computing devices or computers for the teaching learning purposes. If that is the case, that is called computer assisted learning. Any teaching learning activity is provided through the computers, and students learn with the support of the computers. The next is online learning. Again, as I said, see, many of these like the virtual classroom, MOOCs, SPOCs, they make use of online technologies or online tools. Now when a teaching learning activity is carried with the support of online technologies or online tools, that learning is called online learning. Now let me give you a simple kind of a real example. Like in Indian context, there are many universities who are offering online programs. A complete academic program is offered through online technologies. Say for example MBA online. Even in IGNOU we have many online programs and courses. A complete academic program or course is offered through the online technologies. So friends, again I would say this is not a complete list. These are some of the technologies or ways by which digital learning is practiced in real sense. We have many other technologies which we can include in this list. So basically any digital medium or digital tool is used for the teaching learning purpose. If that is the case, that is called digital learning. I hope you got the point. Now let us shift to the second type of smart education, which is the blended learning. What is that? As the name suggests, this is going to be the teaching learning approach where we blend a regular program with online technology or technology enabled learning. So as I said in the beginning, say for example, a university or a college is offering masters in economics. Some part of the curriculum is learned through a regular mode, some part of the curriculum is learned with the support of technology. If that is the case, then that teaching learning approach is called blended learning. So what is the idea? Basically some portion of the curriculum is learned by attending or going to the college or university, and they learn by sitting in the classroom in regular mode. But some part of the curriculum or academic load is learned with the support of technology. So they have to learn through some online tools, some part of the curriculum. So here the regular and technology enabled teaching learning approach is mixed or blended. So such a teaching learning approach is called blended learning. In real sense, there are many universities who are practicing this blended learning. Even I hope you are aware about the credit. You can earn credit from different universities. Suppose you are a student of IGNOU, you learn some part of your curriculum from IGNOU, but some part of the curriculum from different universities. And how it is practiced? You can go to the SWAYAM website, enroll for the courses which are matching to your program, and you can earn credit from this SWAYAM, and you can submit to the concerned university where you have enrolled for the particular program, and you can get the degree. So you can earn credit from different universities. So there is a provision like that in our Indian context, in the Indian education system in the present scenario. So this is what we call the blended learning. I would also give you one more example, like a student of a regular university or a college who has joined for any particular program like BSc in chemistry. So some part of the curriculum he will learn by attending the college through regular mode. Some of the courses he will learn from the SWAYAM platform. So the regular mode and the teaching learning approach, some of the courses he will learn from the SWAYAM. So this is the blending of regular and technology enabled learning. Now let us see some of the structures in blended learning. This can be practiced in different ways. Say for example, blended face-to-face class. Say for example, some part of the curriculum is learned from the college, some part from any online medium or learning management system. So if that is the case, that is blended face-to-face class mode. The second is blended online class. Again, some part of the curriculum through what we call the regular mode, some from the online technology, some with the support of online technology. The next is flipped classroom, where some part again through regular mode, some part with the support of technologies. In flipped classroom, the topics or the content is not directly taught to the students, but the teacher will prepare some kind of a video material, and the students will be directed to watch those video material, and the doubts and confusions which they have, they will be discussed in the classroom. So that is what is called the flipped classroom. Next is the rotation model, where again some in the classroom, then for some part of the curriculum they will be going through like different rooms or laboratories or some kind of that kind of situations. So some part in the classroom, some part in other part of the classroom, like separate rooms like mathematics club or science club or laboratories, etc. The next is self-blend model, where a students get enrolled in some regular programs. He himself, take some of the courses from different online mediums. That is self-blend mode. Again, the next is the blended mode, blended MOOC mode, where some part through the regular mode, some of the courses they will, earn the credit by enrolling in some MOOC programs. This is also in reality happening in our country right now. The next is flexible mode courses. As the student wishes, they can earn some credit from the regular mode and some through whatever they like. The students will be given flexibility to take the courses from the online technology. So basically, see friends, as you see on the slide, a major part or some part of the course is earned by attending the regular classes, and some with the support of technology. The way by which it is practiced is different, like some through online technology, some by enrolling in MOOCs, some by their own choices. They have given freedom, flexibility, etc. So basically the regular mode is blended with the technology. This is what the idea is about. Now let us come to the last segment of this video lecture, where we are going to discuss about different smart education scenarios. As you see on the slide, there are 4 different scenarios or approaches. One is the class based differentiated instruction. The next is group based collaborative learning. The third is individual based personalized learning. The next is mass based generative learning. See, in the beginning also we were talking about the different types of learning, like formal, informal, non-formal, then the different types of learners like visual, kinesthetic, etc. There also we were saying, I was saying, like we can make use of technology for learning. So it is just an extension of what we were discussing in the beginning. So let us see in detail about all these scenarios. Like the first one is class based instruction. What is that? A differentiated instruction. See, a teaching approach that tailors instruction to students' different learning needs. We were talking about the different learning styles, etc. So the students will be given learning tasks, learning activities based on their learning needs. As you are aware, all the students are, different from one another. We say everyone is unique. Everyone learn on their own way. So when a teacher gives a teaching learning activity depending on their learning styles, their nature, their capability, then such an instructional style, such a teaching learning approach is called differentiated instruction. See, let us see how the teachers can differentiate, or how the teachers can provide instruction or give teaching learning activities based on different aspects. Like, see, teachers can differentiate based on the content, process, product. This is one. The content is given in different modes depending on the students' capabilities and styles. Now, according to students' needs, like their readiness, their interest, learning profile, etc., teachers can give different types of learning activities based on their interest, learning profile, readiness, etc. Again, why it is given? Like to improve their motivation, to improve their learning efficiency, to improve their growth in individual growth, like cognitive growth, etc. So the differentiated instruction can be practiced in different ways depending upon the student's readiness, depending upon the content, the process, the classroom, climate, etc. We'll talk a little more about the 4 areas of different instructions, the different 4 areas of differentiated instruction as per Tomlinson. What are those 4 areas? One is the content. What does it mean? Figuring out what a student needs to learn and which resources will help. So it is just like the concept, the topic the students need to learn, and depending upon the resources will be given. The next is process. Activities that help students to make sense of what they learn. How the students will learn? Accordingly, different processes or activities will be given. The projects, the next is the project, ways for students to show what they know. The next is learning environment. This is the 4th area, how the classroom feels and how the class works together. So these are the 4 areas of differentiated instruction. So the teacher can, what I am trying to explain here is that the students are different from each other depending upon their nature, style, cognitive growth, their ability, taste, etc. The teachers, tailors their instruction, tailors their activity, makes their activity so that each student will be able to easily learn. So it can be based on the content, process, project, learning environment, etc. So this is what the 4 areas of differentiated instruction is referring to. Now the next is, the first one was differentiated instruction, next is collaborative learning. This is another scenario, and this is very common in online space or virtual classrooms. What is that? Educational approach of using groups to enhance learning through working together. Groups of 2 or more learners work together to solve problems, complete tasks or learn new concepts. See, this can also be practiced in the regular classrooms. A teacher can group couple of students into different groups, then a learning activity will be given. So they will have to achieve a goal. To achieve that goal, each of the individual has to work. Otherwise, they cannot achieve the learning. So this kind of a learning approach, teaching learning approach, is called collaborative, or sometimes we also call it as cooperative learning. Students work together. This is the basic idea. So in online space, in online classes or virtual classrooms or MOOC courses, etc., the students can create different groups and a learning activity can be given. If that is the case, such a teaching learning approach is called collaborative or cooperative learning, and this is very common in online courses. Now, in collaborative learning, there are different components. See, it is like, one is the sharing of ideas, the next is collaboration, the next is discussion, the other is community, the other component is brainstorm, the other component is interaction. What does these components refer to? See, as I said, a group will have a common goal or common objective. In order to achieve, or in order to satisfy, in order to reach that particular objective, they have to work together. They have to think. They have to work as a community. They have to discuss something. They have to share the ideas. They have to work together, collaborate together. They have to interact each other. Then only they will be able to achieve that particular task. So that's why, as you see on the screen, these are the components. When these components are there in a group, then only they will be able to achieve that particular task. Without interaction, without discussing anything, without working as a group, they cannot achieve the particular task. So these are some of the basic components, compulsory components, which are there in collaborative learning or cooperative learning. Now, what are the advantages? It's very simple. When we work in a group to achieve a particular task, there are various advantages, like it helps students to improve their achievement, improve their productivity, their thinking capacity, like reasoning, transfer of knowledge. They improve their confidence to work for a particular goal, increased independence. I mean, like, once it is done in group, then they get the confidence to work independently. So then that improves their autonomy also. So these are some of the advantages of collaborative, or as I said, these sometimes we also call it as cooperative learning. So these are some of the advantages of collaborative or cooperative learning. Now come to the third. So we have discussed about the differentiated instruction, then collaborative learning. The third is individual based personalized learning. Again, something which is related to the individual needs. Let us see what it says. Individual based personalized learning is a learner oriented learning procedure where the educational curriculum is tailor made to achieve the needs of the individual learners. Again, the individual needs of the learners are taken into consideration. Accordingly, the teaching learning activities are provided. Like say for example, the learning environment of each of the student is different. So accordingly, what we call a teaching activities design. Then the interventions or activities, again supporting students needs, again the needs of each of the students are different. Accordingly, the teaching learning activities will be provided. Student grouping based on the needs of the student. The curriculum is also tailor made to meet the students needs. Teaching the quality is improved by looking at the individual needs of the students. Again, looking at the needs of the students, goal is set and it is to track. Again, the assessment is a compulsory component in the teaching learning activity. So depending upon the students' need, different assessment questions are given. So on the screen what you are seeing is these are the design elements. If you want to practice the personalized learning, if you want to give teaching learning activities based on the students' needs, these are some of the elements, these are some of the areas which you can consider. We have discussed some of these elements in the first education, smart education scenario, like differentiated instruction. This is just an extension of that. We are completely personalizing the teaching learning activities based on the students' needs and their capabilities. So if such a teaching learning activity is designed, then such a teaching learning approach is called personalized learning. The last one is the generative learning. As the name indicates, just like the students keep on generating the ideas. So how they will construct the idea? They have to be given some kind of teaching learning activity. They engage with the teaching learning activity, they go through the teaching learning activity, they complete it. So when they complete, when they go through, when they engage in the teaching learning activity, they generate the ideas. So this is just like if you want to get an explanation or definition, it is said like this is the process of constructing meaning through generating relationship and associations between stimuli and existing knowledge, beliefs and experiences. So see, when you give a teaching learning activity to a student, they already come with some experiences of previous knowledge. They build the new ideas, new knowledge by making use of the previous experiences, previous knowledge they have. They generate new ideas, they construct new ideas based on the existing ideas which they have. But to develop new ideas, the teachers has to give some kind of learning activities. If that is the case, such a teaching learning activity is called mass based generative learning. So friends, we have extensively talked about the different smart education scenarios. And why it is important? See, in all these, like the differentiated learning, personalized learning, then the what we call the generative learning, in all those smart education scenarios, technology is going to play a big role. We can make use of the technologies, the smart technologies, to provide the teaching learning activities. So this will support this, help the teacher to provide the teaching learning activities depending upon the students' needs and interest. And since today's generations are digital natives, they love to learn with the support of technologies. It is easy for them to generate new ideas. So that's why we talk about these smart education scenarios. So just talking about the different types of smart education scenarios will not work, but we also need to talk about the technologies which support these smart education scenarios. And there are lots of what we call technologies which you can use for personalized learning, generative learning, then the differentiated instruction, so on and so forth. Various technologies can be used for achieving these objectives. So I hope you understood the concept behind the smart education scenarios and the technologies which supports those smart education scenarios. The technologies that we have discussed in the beginning of this session, all those technologies and the tools which we have discussed after that, those tools can also be used to accomplish or to create the smart education scenarios that we were discussing towards the end of this video lecture. I hope you have understood the concept that we have discussed in this video lecture. So with this, we would wind up this video lecture. In this video lecture, we were focusing on the types of smart education, of wherein which we were talking about two different streams, like one the blended learning and the other is digital learning. And towards the end of this lecture, we have discussed about the different smart education scenarios. The basic idea is education with the support of smart technologies. Thank you for listening this lecture.